Adolf Frederick or Adolf Frederick was King of Sweden from 1751 until his death. He was the son of Christian August of Holstein-Gottorp, Prince of Eutin, and Albertina Frederica of Baden-Durlach, the first king from the House of Holstein-Gottorp. Adolf Frederick was a weak monarch, instated as first in line of the throne following the parliamentary government's failure to reconquer the Baltic provinces in 1741–43. Aside from a few attempts, supported by pro-absolutist factions among the nobility, to reclaim the absolute monarchy held by former monarchs, he remained a mere constitutional figurehead until his death, by popular belief attributed to a heavy consumption of semlas. His reign saw an extended period of internal peace, although the finance stagnated following failed mercantilist doctrines pursued by the Hat administration. The Hat administration ended only in the 1765–66 Parliament, where the Cap opposition overtook the government and enacted reforms towards greater economic liberalism as well as a freedom of press act almost unique at the time for its curtailing of all censorship, retaining punitive measures only for libeling the monarch or the Lutheran state church. Following his death, his son Gustav III seized power in 1772 in a military coup d'etat, reinstating absolute rule. Ancestry. His father was Christian Augustus, Duke and a younger Prince of Schleswig-Holstein-Gottorp, Prince Bishop of Lübeck, and administrator, during the Great Northern War, of the Duchies of Holstein-Gottorp for his relative Charles Frederick. His mother was Albertina Frederica of Baden-Durlach. On his mother's side, Adolf Frederick descended from King Gustav Vasa and from Christina Magdalena, a sister of Charles X of Sweden. From both his parents he was descended from Holstein-Gottorp, a house with a number of medieval Scandinavian royal dynasties among its ancestors. Adolf Frederick was also a 13th-generation descendant of Erik V of Denmark, a 13th-generation descendant of Sophia of Denmark and Valdemar I of Sweden, and an 11th-generation descendant of Euphemia of Sweden, Duchess of Mecklenburg, and her husband the Duke Albrecht. Reign. From 1727 to 1750 Prince Adolf Frederick was Prince Bishop of Lübeck, which meant the rulership of a fief around and including Eutin. After his first cousin Charles Frederick, Duke of Holstein-Gottorp, died in 1739, Adolf Frederick became administrator of Holstein-Kiel during the minority of the Duke's orphan son, then known as Charles Peter Ulrich. Shortly afterwards, the young boy was invited to Russia by his maternal aunt, Empress Elizabeth, who soon declared him her heir. He later became known as Peter III of Russia. In 1743, Adolf Frederick was elected heir to the throne of Sweden by the Hat faction in order that they might obtain better conditions at the Peace of Turku, from Empress Elizabeth of Russia, who had adopted his nephew as her heir. He succeeded as King Adolf Frederick 12 years later, on the 25th of March 1751. During his 20-year reign, Adolf Frederick was little more than a figurehead, the real power being lodged in the hands of the Riksdag of the Estates, often distracted by party strife. Twice he endeavored to free himself from the tutelage of the Estates. The first occasion was in 1756 when, stimulated by his imperious consort Louisa Ulrika of Prussia, he tried to regain a portion of the attenuated prerogative through the coup of 1756, and nearly lost his throne in consequence. On the second occasion in 1768, under the guidance of his eldest son, the Crown Prince Gustav, afterwards Gustav III of Sweden, he succeeded in overthrowing the Cap Senate but was unable to make any use of his victory. His mother died a widow in Hamburg on the 22nd of December 1755. She was a descendant of earlier royal dynasties of Sweden, granddaughter of Christina Magdalena of Palatinate, Charles X's sister. The Adolf Frederick died in Stockholm on 12 February 1771 after having consumed a meal consisting of lobster, caviar, sauerkraut, kippers and champagne, which was topped off with 14 servings of his favorite dessert, semlas, stuffed with almond paste and served in a bowl of hot cream. The king was regarded, both during his time and in later times, as dependent on others, a weak ruler and lacking of any talents. But he was allegedly also a good husband, a caring father, and a gentle master to his servants. His favorite pastime was to make snuff boxes, which he allegedly spent a great deal of time doing. His personal hospitality and friendliness were witnessed by many who deeply mourned him at his death. His portrait is included with a 16-sheet series of princely persons on horseback by Johann Elias Riedinger. Children. By his marriage to Princess Louisa Ulrika of Prussia, he had the following children: Gustav III, Charles XIII, Frederick Adolf, Sophia Albertina. Ancestors.